Hey guys, it's Barlock here, bringing you another Top 8 for Gen 8. In today's video, we are going to be going through the top 8 craziest things that have ever happened to me in Pokemon. Be it in the video games, the trading card game, or whatever. As long as it's related to Pokemon, it's fair game. If you find this video interesting, I'd appreciate it if you can hit the subscribe button, as I am trying to grow this channel and every bit of support is much appreciated. You can also leave a like or comment on the video as well. Now, before we get into these stories, here is our latest trivia question for the video. What was the first Pokemon game released for the Nintendo Wii? Leave your answers in the comments. The answer will be at the end of the video. And so, with that out of the way, let's get started. So, first of all, we're going to start out with a shiny fail for our number 8 slot. My first random encounter shiny was a Geodude in a Horde encounter in Pokemon Y. I was so excited, but first I had to thin out the horde before I could throw a Pokeball. However, the Geodudes then immediately proceeded to use Magnitude, hitting all of the other Geodudes and killing my shiny before I even had a chance to go for it. I was so pissed. Thankfully, the only other shiny fail I've had was when I encountered a shiny Cottony just out of nowhere in Pokemon Ultra Sun. I tried to weaken it with a not very effective Thunderbolt from a Heliolisk, but then that somehow still one-shotted it. I was distraught. It caused me to seek out a shiny Cottony on the GTS, and it actually led to my love of shiny Whimsicott to this day. So I'm not extremely bitter about it, but I would have liked to have caught that Cottony. For number 7, we have my most memorable battle in a Pokemon game. The first time I fought Cynthia in Pokemon Diamond was one that I will never forget. I managed to get through the Elite Four with my team consisting of a Rapidash, Torterra, Gastrodon, Luxray, and I think a Steelix and something else. But in any case, we were about 20 levels lower than Cynthia's strongest Pokemon, so I figured that I was probably going to have to grind the Elite Four again a couple times before I was going to get a real shot at beating her. Using some effective strategies, I actually managed to hold on throughout the battle to the point where it came down to my last Pokemon versus her last Pokemon, and both of us were on our last legs. I was going to go first, but my move didn't have 100% accuracy, so if it landed, I was going to win, but if it missed, I would lose. It was a nail-biting moment, but when that last move landed, I literally shouted out loud in victory. It was incredibly intense, and a prime reason why I think that the challenge of Gen 4 makes it the best generation of them all. So coming in at number 6, we have an unconventional shiny fail. So, back when I was in grade school, around 2001, there was a kid who was much younger than me who had a freaking shining Charizard card. At the time I'm recording this, the lowest that this card is going for on eBay is $130, and that's a card that has been played with and worn out. Good condition listings of this thing are closer to $250 or more. At the time, I just wanted this card because it was a super special shiny Charizard, and he was my favorite Pokemon at the time, so I needed to have it. This kid actually said that he would trade it with me too, so I was really excited. Sure, I wasn't giving him something that was exactly equivalent in value, but I was offering him a few rare cards, so I wasn't exactly ripping him off. But anyway, he said he was going to trade with me after class, but when I went to do the trade, he then revealed that he had already traded it to some other kid for a freaking unknown! I was speechless. A worthless, common unknown for a shining Charizard. I can't believe how stupid that kid was, and how this extremely rare and valuable card managed to slip out of my grasp like that. It was incredibly frustrating, especially now when I look at all these extremely expensive listings on that card, and I want to buy it, but I can't afford it. Anyway, speaking of grade school, my number 5 entry is another story from back when I was playing Pokemon Gold and Silver around 2001. For the longest time, I thought that if you breed a shiny Pokemon at the daycare center, that it will produce a shiny egg. This is because my brother and I were playing Pokemon Silver, and he tried to breed the red Gyarados in order to get more shiny Gyarados, and lo and behold, the egg produced a shiny Magikarp. However, I've realized in the last couple of years, as I started shiny hunting in the Gen 2 Virtual Console games, what actually happened here, and just how insane my childhood luck was. In Gen 2, the shininess is based on your IVs, and those are passed down in a particular way when breeding so that the opposite gender of the parent has a 1 in 64 chance of inheriting the parent's shininess. Otherwise, you're going by the normal 1 in 8,192 odds. So, it turns out that not only did we get lucky that our Magikarp's gender was the opposite of the parent, but it also managed to beat those 1 in 64 odds on the first try to get us a shiny. So we got stupid lucky to get that the first time. That's 1 in 128 odds, or a 0.78% chance. But that's not even the craziest bit of luck on this countdown. No, not by a long shot. For our number 4 entry, we'll finish off my grade school stories with a story about how I caught all 150 Pokemon in Pokemon Blue. I was a determined young Pokemon trainer and endeavored to capture all of the 150 obtainable Pokemon in the Gen 1 games. It took me quite a while, but I managed to find enough people who would trade with me to where I finally filled up my Pokedex and got 100% completion. I was extremely proud of this feat, and I even brag about it on occasion to this day, because I'm a nerd for life apparently. Anyway, so one day a friend of mine asked if he could borrow my copy of Pokemon Blue so he could play with it a bit. I said sure, but my only caveat was that he couldn't start a new game and then save it because, and I stressed this, I had all 150 Pokemon and didn't want to lose that. So, predictably, when this friend returned the game, I booted it up and the bastard had started a new game and saved. I was understandably pissed that all my effort went out the window, all because of this moron of a friend. In retrospect, I probably shouldn't have been surprised, because this friend was a selfish, abusive asshole who I should have jettisoned from my life years earlier. The only real positive that came out of this was that losing those 150 Pokemon eventually formed the basis of my desire to not only catch them all again, but to get an actual living dex so I could transfer it forward to every new game, a feat which I have continued since Pokemon X and Y came out. So you can kind of see why I am so pissed again that Game Freak is deciding that they don't want to carry all of the Pokemon forward to each game. It's like taking away the 150 Pokemon from me all over again. So coming in at number 3, we have my insane luck with Charizard cards during a 30-day period between the midpoint of May and June in 2015. During this period, I bought about a dozen booster packs from the Flash Fire and Plasma Storm sets. The first card I got was the secret rare shiny Charizard from Plasma Storm, a card which is still worth a whopping $120 to this day. Then, a couple weeks later, I pulled a Mega Charizard X EX from the Flash Fire set. Then, barely a week later, I then pulled a Mega Charizard Y EX. All told, I ended up selling all 3 of these cards to one of my cousins for about $240. But here's the kicker, I then pulled another Mega Charizard X EX from a Flash Fire set a few weeks later. This one I decided to keep, and I still have it to this day, as you have possibly seen in my Pokemon card collection video, which I posted recently. But anyway, my luck during that 1 month period was just insane, considering I was only buying a few packs every couple weeks as well. It was an insane amount of luck. So coming in at number 2, we have my most insane shiny luck story. I already mentioned that my first random encounter shiny was a Geodude in Pokemon Y, but when I failed that, I didn't see another shiny in the wild again until Pokemon Moon, when I encountered a random shiny Dugtrio. Then it was quiet again for more than half a year until the shiny gods truly decided to bless me. It started with a random shiny Golduck encounter, which I promptly caught. Then, the next day, I went hunting for a magic bounce of Abra, and then when it appeared early in the SOS chain, it was a shiny. Then, 2 days later, I tried breeding the Abra to get some good IVs and natures on it, and then one of the hatched Abras was also shiny. I couldn't believe my luck, but it was about to get even better. Just 2 days later, I was wandering an area randomly when yet another shiny showed up, this time a Pelipper. I caught this one as well, bringing my completely random shiny encounters to 4 in less than a week, right at the tail end of Pokemon Moon. To make things just a little bit crazier, just over a month later, I would start Pokemon Ultra Sun and ran into a random shiny Inkay during my playthrough. After years of never seeing a shiny in the wild, suddenly the floodgates were open and I was just hooked for good. I've since gone on shiny hunts in various Pokemon games and I always get excited when that sparkle shows up on my screen. And so for our number 1 slot, we have possibly the most insane Pokemon story that I've been a part of. During one of Pimp Knight's battle streams, Pimp Knight and I went up against a Dugong in a double battle which was trying to troll us by only using Horn Drill. If you're not aware, Horn Drill is a one-hit KO move, which has a measly 30% chance of hitting. So I figured that 30% odds of actually landing a hit meant that this would be less of a threat than the other Pokemon we were coming up against, and so I ignored it for the most part. But holy crap was I wrong. That Dugong went on to land 6 consecutive horn drills, wiping out all of Pimp Knight's Pokemon, and then moving on to wipe out all of mine. Pimp Knight and I were freaking out at this luck. The odds of landing 6 horn drills in a row is 0.0729%, less than a 1 in 1,000 occurrence. Suffice to say, I've never looked at Dugong the same way again. But that is actually not the end of this story. I have also managed to land 6 consecutive horn drills in a row. It happened the first time I used a Nidoqueen that I had transferred from Gen 1 Virtual Console, which I had taught the horn drill TM to. I just wanted to test out the move and see how it worked with Sheer Force and Life Orb. But then I managed to one-hit KO with it 6 times in a row the very first time I tried using her in battle. It was truly insane, and it's a feat that I haven't been able to repeat yet. And there you have it. Those are the 8 craziest Pokemon stories I've ever had. I'd love to hear the sorts of crazy stories that you've had though, so be sure to share those in the comments down below. I look forward to make even more memories with Pokemon into the future, and I hope that I get a chance to share them with you all. I hope you found these stories interesting. But until next time, this is Barlock, signing off.